Let's see overview of the lesson. Under this, we have four components. First one, quick review of the previous text. Second one, reading text. Here we have taken from paragraph 8 to 11. The third component is think about the language. It means grammar. In this session, we can learn about passive voice. The last session, think about the text. In other words, it means learn about your understanding. Now, shall we move to objectives of the lesson, My Childhood Part 2? Listening the lesson, you will be able to identify the religious beliefs in Rameswaram in Kalam's childhood days. Explain the problems to be confronted when someone tries to change the system. Understand unprecedented optimism of Indians when freedom was imminent. Differentiate between the passive formation of verb and active formation of the verb. Dear children, could we start the introductory activity, the revision of a previous text? Now, the text is explained through bullet points in the words of Little Abdul Kalam. The small society of Rameswaram was very rigid in terms of segregation in different social groups. Here, two new words are found. One is rigid, which means a few. The second one is segregation, which means separation. Sivasubramanian Iyer was an orthodox Brahmin. He had a very conservative and a rebel wife. Here, two new words are identified: orthodox, conventional, conservative, inoffensive to rightist.
I was greatly influenced by my science teacher, Sivasubramanian Iyer. I learned the lessons of breaking social barriers from him.
One day, Sivasubramanian Iyer invited me of being Muslim boy for meal to his home. His conservative wife refused to serve me her ritually pure kitchen. Here the new word ritually means habitually. Without getting any anger on her, he himself served me with his own hands and sat down beside me to eat. He conveyed his wife to serve me meal with her own hands. Thus, he was successful in changing her conservative attitude. After Second World War was over, India's freedom was imminent and the whole country was filled with an unprecedented optimism. Here, the two new words are imminent, that means about to happen. Unprecedented optimism means never experienced to expect the best. For higher education, I sought permission from my father to leave Rameswaram and study at the district headquarters Ramanathapuram. Here we come across the new word sought. It is the past participle and past tense of seek. Seek, sought, sought. Here, sought means try to, or attempt to. Here, sought permission means try to get permission. My father said that I had to go a long way in life, just like a seagull bird that flies a long distance. Here you see the children. There is a several white, often dark backed birds of the family Laridae, having long pointed wings and short legs. Such birds are called seagull birds. They travel very long distance over the sea. Generally, they leave their families and they try to find out their food from the sea with their hard work. My father climbed, shown my reluctant mother by quoting Khalil's Gibran's poem. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's long for itself. They come through you, but not from you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. Here we have come across two new words, that is reluctant, that means unwilling. Then shall we move to check your understanding? I am going to pose a question for checking your understanding. Who was worried most when Kalam wanted to leave for Ramanathapuram? There are four options given. Option A, Kalam's father. Option B, Kalam's mother. Option C, Kalam's uncle. Option D, Kalam's friend. Please think. Excellent. You hit the right bird. Kalam's mother. Okay, now we try another question. Who invited Kalam to his home for a meal? There are four options. A. Kalam's science teacher. B. Kalam's new teacher. C. Kalam's brother. D. Kalam's friend. Think over. Well done. Excellent. Kalam's science teacher. Let's go to think about the language. Here we can learn here about passive voice. Here you see the picture. There is a farmer. The farmer cut the tree. You see, the farmer cut the tree. If you see the example in the sentence, the subject is the farmer. The doer of the action is also the farmer. Here, subject and doer of the action is the same. Such sentence is called is in active voice. Now, let's see another example. The tree was cut by the farmer. You see, the tree was cut by the farmer. In the second sentence, the subject is the tree. The doer of the action is the farmer. Here, subject is not the same doer of the action. So, such sentences is called in passive voice. Okay, dear children, you see there are two voices. One is active voice, another is passive voice. Now, let's discuss what are the differences in using verbs of active voice and passive voice. Children, textual exercises. Here, three sentences are given. Please observe the sentences. My parents were regarded as an ideal couple. Second, I was asked, to go and sit on the backbench. Third one, such problems have to be confronted. Here, were regarded, was asked, to be confronted. These verbs are given in red color. So let me say when we use activize, when we use passivize. When doer is important, we take activize or we use activize. When process is important, we use a passivize. Dear children, you see the verb in the passivize has two verb forms. They are be form and the past participle form of the verb. It is also called verb 3. Now let me give some examples. What are the be forms and what are the third forms of the verbs? The following are the be forms in passive voice. Is, or, am, was, were, be, been, being. Here are some examples of different verb forms. Play, played, played. Eat, ate, eaten. Drink, drank, drunk. Buy, bought, bought. Give, gave, given. Cut, cut, cut. Take, took, taken. Sell, sold, sold. Bring, brought, brought. Dear children, whenever we use passivize, we should take the past participle form of verbs only. So the verbs are indicated in red box. You please observe them. Children, this is the passive form of verb which can be identified by the following formula. Be form plus past participle. Shall we check our stand? The correct past participle form of drive. There are 4 options given. Drive, drove, driven, driving. These are the options. Think. Well done. Driven is the past participle form of the verb. Let's try another one. The food dash carry by the ants. Children, you see, the food is the a subject. Ants are the doers. Here food and doers are not same. That's why you think what form of verb can be used here? Shall we use carry or carry? Is carried or carrying? Think. Well done. Excellent. Is carry is the correct answer. Let me extend my explanation about a passivize. Here, I want to tell about passivize with some more activities. Here, for example, we take a little boy Anju who wants to play with a kite along with his friends. He wants to know the process of making kite. Can we observe the video?
Papers are taken to make kite. Scissors are taken to cut the paper. Paper is cut into rhombus shape. two lean sticks are pasted as shown. A thread is tied to the kite. Tail is pasted to it. Now kite is to be flown into the sky. Kites are flown by the children happily.
Have you watched the video? Do you like the process of making kite? Have you observed the sentences? Have you observed the verbs, particularly be form verbs and past participle verbs? Yes, the sentences which are given in the video are all in passive voice. Let me give another activity. Next day, Anju went to his grandparents' house. There, his grandma prepared a bread halwa. Anju tasted it and liked it most. So he asked his grandmother how she had prepared. Then she explained the process of making halwa. Do you want to know the process? Let's see another video.
Next day, Anju went to his grandparents' house. There, his grandma prepared a bread halwa. Anju tasted it and liked it most. So he asked his grandmother how she had prepared it. She explained the process of making halwa. Dear children, do you want to know how a bread halwa is being prepared? Let's watch the video.
A loaf of bread was bought yesterday in bakery shop. Bread was cut into slices. Slices were fried in oil. Syrup was made with sugar and water. Bread was mixed in the syrup. Mouth-watering bread halwa had been prepared. The tasty halwa was being eaten by me.
Hi children, have you watched the process of making bread halwa? Excellent. Now, if you watch the whole video, the process of making bread halwa is in passive voice in past tense. Now, we can discuss the exercise which is given in the text. Now, let's try.
This is the textual exercise. Rewrite the sentences below, changing the verbs in brackets into the passive form. The first sentence. In yesterday's competition, the prizes within bracket given away by the principal. In spite of the financial difficulties, the laborers dash pay on time. On Republic Day, vehicles dash not allow beyond this point. Fourth one, second-hand books dash buy and sell on the pavement every Saturday. Fifth one, elections to Lok Sabha dash held every 5 years. The last one, our national anthem dash composed by Rabindranath Tagore. Dear children, you observe, here the verbs are given in bracket in separate color. Now we have to fill them with proper answers. Every verb should have a be form verb and past participle because the old sentences are given in passive voice because here the doers are given by the end of the sentence. So subjects and doers are the not same. That's why we have to fill the blanks with the proper be form and past participle verb. Let's see the correct answers. Now answers. In yesterday's competition, the prizes were given away by the principal. Were is the be form, given away is the past participle. For the second, in spite of financial difficulties, the laborers are paid on time. Are paid on time. So R is the be form, paid is the past participle verb. The third one, on Republic Day, vehicles are not allowed. Are not allowed beyond this point. Or is the be form verb, allowed is the past participle verb. Fourth one, second-hand books are bought and sold. Here, R is the be form, bought and sold are the past participle verbs. On the pavement every Saturday, elections to the Lok Sabha are held every 5 years. Are held. Held is the third form of the verb, R is the be form verb. Our national anthem was composed by Rabindranath Tagore. Was because the first one and sixth one are in passive voice. The remaining can be determined are in present tense, passive voice. The first one and sixth one are passive voice in past tense because time is mentioned. Exercise 2. Nari Contractor was the captain and the opening batsman for India in the 1960s. The Indian cricket team went on a tour to the West Indies 1962 in a match against Barbados in Brighton. Nari Contractor seriously injured in the collapse. In those days, helmets did not wear. Contractor hit on the head by the bouncer from Charlie Griffith. Contractor's skull fractured. The entire team deeply concerned. The West Indies player worried. Contractor rushed to the hospital. He accompanied by the Frank Worrell, the captain of the West Indies team. Blood donated by the West Indies players, thanks to the timely help. Children, you see the passage was given in past tense because it happened in 1962. Now we are asked to fill the blanks which are highlighted in white color with the passive forms. Now let's see the answers. Contractor was the captain and opening batsman for India in 1960. The Indian cricket team went on to tour to the West Indies in 1962. In a match against Barbados in Brighton, Nari Contractor was seriously injured and collapsed. Was injured and collapsed. Was is the be form, injured and collapsed are the past participle. In those days, helmets were not worn, were or worn. Were is the be form, worn is the third form of the verb. Contractor was hit. Was is the be form, hit. Hit is also third form of the verb. On the head by bouncer from Charlie Griffith, the contractor's skull was fractured. Here is also was is the be form, fractured is the third form of the verb. The entire team was deeply concerned. So was is the be form, concerned is the past participle. The West Indies players were worried. Worried is the be form, worried is the past participle. Contractor was rushed to the hospital. Here was be form, rush is the third form or past participle. He was accompanied. Here was accompanied. Was is the be form, accompanied is the third form of the verb. by Frank Worrell, the captain of West Indies team. Blood was donated. Was is the B form? Donated is the verb. 3. By the West Indies player. Thanks to the timely help. Contract was saved. Nowadays, helmets were routinely used against bowlers. Contractor was the captain and opening batsman for India in 1960. The Indian cricket team went on to tour to the West Indies in 1962. In a match against Barbados in Brighton, Nani Contractor was seriously injured and collapsed. Was injured and collapsed. Was is the B form. Injured and collapsed are the past participle. In those days, helmets were not worn. Were or worn. What is the B form? What is the third form of the verb? Contractor was hit. Was is the B form. Hit, hit, hit. Hit is also third form of the verb. On the head by bouncer from Charlie Griffith, the contractor's skull was fractured. Here is also was is the B form. Fractured is the third form of the verb. The entire team was deeply concerned. So was is the B form. Concerned is the past participle. The West Indies players were worried. Were and worried. Worried is the B form. Worried is the past participle. Contractor was rushed to the hospital. Here was B form. Rush is the third form or past participle. He was accompanied. Here was accompanied. Was is the B form. Accompanied is the third form of the verb. By Frank Worrell, the captain of West Indies team. Blood was donated. Was is the B form. Donated is the verb. 3. By the West Indies player. Thanks to the timely help. Contract was saved. Nowadays, helmets were routinely used against bowlers. Rewrite the paragraph below using the correct form of verb given in brackets. Oil from seeds. Vegetables oil made from seeds and fruits of many plants growing all over the world. From tiny sesame seeds to big juicy coconuts. Oil produced from cotton seeds, groundnuts, soya beans, and sunflower seeds. Olive oil dash for cooking, salad, dressing, etc. Olive shake from the trees and gather up usually by hand. The olives ground to a thick paste which is spread onto the special mats. Then the mats dash layer upon the pressing the machine which will gently squeeze them to produce olive oil. This is the paragraph which is given in the textbook for the practice for passive voice. Now let us discuss the correct verb forms which are identified in white color. Now let's see the key. Oil from seeds. Vegetable oils are made from seeds and fruits of many plants growing all over the world, from tiny sesame seeds to big juicy coconuts. Oil is produced from cotton seeds, groundnuts, soya beans, and sunflower seeds. Olive oil is used for cooking, salad dressing, etc. Olives are shaken from the trees and are gathered up and usually by hand. The olives are grounded to a thick paste which is spread onto the special mats. Then the mats are layered upon the pressing machine which will gently squeeze them to produce olive oil. Dear children, you observe are made, is produced, are used, are shaken, are gathered, are grounded, or layered. These are all passive form of verbs. Now, let's see. Shall we go to test your knowledge or check our understanding? Young Kalam, who is going to the higher studies, is compared with seagull bird, penguin, eagle, skylark. Think here young Kalam is compared with very good seagull bird. To the second question. Abdul Kalam wanted to go for higher studies too. There are four options given. A. Ramatirtha. B. Rameshwaram. C. Ramananthapuram. D. Rudravanam. Think, think, think. Excellent. Ramananthapuram. Correct answer. Let me continue the third question. The wife of Sri Sivasubramanian Iyer, who is the science teacher of Kalam, was beautiful and talented, conservative and kind, conservative and rebel, polite and shy. Think over. Yes, you hit the right word. Conservative and rebel. On the next question. Here, a sentence is given. You are asked to change the sentence into passive voice. The man asked a question. Here, four options are given. A question is asked by the man. A question was asked by the man. A question is being asked by the man. A question was being asked by the man. Which one is correct? Excellent. A question was asked by the man because the sentence is in past tense. Let me continue the next question. Kalam writes letters to his parents. Again, you are asked to change the sentence into passive voice. Letters are written to his parents by Kalam. Letters were written to his parents by Kalam. Letters are being written to his parents by Kalam. Letters were being written to his parents by Kalam. Please think. Super! Letters are written to his parents by Kalam. So, your answer is correct. Now, you have to fill the correct verb form. Wings of Fire dash right by Abdul Kalam in 2001. Dear children, you observe the name of book Wings of Fire is given as a subject. Here doer is Abdul Kalam. Here subject and doer is the different. Now you think which verb is correct. Is written, was written, has been written, had been written. You think. Here you see past time is mentioned. Right answer was written is the correct option.
Language outcomes. After completion of the lesson, children identified the religious beliefs in Rameswaram in Kalam childhood days. Children could explain what were the problems faced by Kalam and his science teacher when they tried to change the system. Children understood the changes of the Second World War in India. Children could differentiate between usage of active and passive voice. Dream is not that which you see while sleeping. It is something that doesn't let you sleep. Thank you. Thank you.